All right, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about linear equations. All right, there's really no vocab for this because you know all the terms that I was going to give you in this video. So let's just jump right into a couple key concepts. So first one is point-slope form. The equation of a line in point-slope form through point x1, y1 with the slope of m is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, this y and this x will always remain in this equation. All right? In fact, when you have Y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, these y's are the same, and this first x and that x is the same. So that's going to stay, and that's going to stay. But you're going to replace y1 with your y value, x1 with your x value, and then, of course, m with your slope. All right, standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a and b are not both 0. One of them can be, but both of them cannot be. All right, so you may see equations written in standard form, and they ask you about, y-intercept form. You would just simply subtract ax from both sides, so that way you have, and then divide by b, so that way you have it in y equals form. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at 2x minus 4y equals 8. To get this into y-intercept, you would subtract the 2x. So negative 4y equals 8 minus 2x. Divide by the negative 4, which is the b. We're dividing by the b. So y equals negative 2 divided by negative 4 is 1 half x. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. So the equation we started with, 2x minus 4y equals 8, and y equals 1 half minus 2, these are equivalent equations, meaning they're both the same, they're equal. All right, this one's just in standard form, and then this one is in the y-intercept form. All right. So let's look at some problems where we're going to have to use point-slope form, where we're given one point on the line and the slope of the line, and we have to figure out the y-intercept form and then graph it. All right. So let's look at a line that passes through point negative 5, 2, with a slope of 3/5. All right, well, we know we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. Well, here, since we have only one point, this is our x1 and this is our y1, and of course this over here is m. So we're going to do y minus y1, which is 2, equals our slope. X minus x1, well, x1 is negative 5, so minus negative 5 is plus 5. Now we want to distribute through. Y minus 2 equals 3/5 x plus 3/5 times 5 is just 3. The 5's end up canceling out. Now we're going to add 2 because we want y by itself. So y equals 5/3 x plus 5. Okay, y equals 5/3 x plus 5. Now, if it just asks you for the line in point-slope form, you would leave it here. You wouldn't have gone further. So if they just want point-slope form, you're done after you substitute in your three numbers. But if they want you to take it all the way down to y-intercept form, of course, you'd have to solve it for y. All right. So I'm going to give you one to try now. I'll put it on the same page so you have an example. It goes through, write the equation, and I want it all the way down to y-intercept form of a line going through point 7, negative 1 with a slope of negative 3. So pause the video and write this in y-intercept form. All right, so remember, this is our x1, this is our y1, and this is m. So we're going to have y minus y1, well, it's going to be y plus 1, equals negative 3, x minus 7. So y plus 1 equals negative 3x plus 21. That's a 21, not a 4. Plus 1, plus 1. Y equals negative 3x plus 22. All right, so you should have got y equals 3x plus 22. If you didn't, try to go back and see what you did and see if you can correct it. All right. Now, graphing a line using only the x and y intercepts. So say we had the equation 3x plus 5y equals 15. And we wanted to graph this, but we only want to use the x and y intercepts because that's all you need is 2 points. Well, so here, let me title this. This is graphing using intercepts. Graphing using intercepts. So, when your function crosses the x-axis, what is the value for y? Hopefully you said 0. Because, like, say it crossed here. Okay? That would be, you'd have a positive x value, but you'd have 0 for the y value. So, some people call this the cover-up method. If you put in a 0 for y, it disappears. So you basically have, hopefully you can see that in the camera, 3x equals 15. Okay? So I'm going to write down what we're doing. We put in a 0 for y, so that just gives us 3x equals 15. Divide by 3, x equals 5. So 0, that's wrong. 5, 0 is our x-intercept. All right, so 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right there. So that's our x-intercept. Now, do the same thing for x to find the y-intercept. So 3 times 0 plus 5y equals 15, which is just 5y equals 15. Divide off the 5, y equals 3. So 0, 3 is our y-intercept. So 0, 3, 1, 2, 3, there's that. And then you just connect the dots. All right, so that's really all there is graphing using intercepts. Put in a 0 for y, that gives you your x-intercept. Put in a 0 for x, that gives you your y-intercept. And that's really all there is for graphing using intercepts. All right. Now, let's go over parallel and perpendicular lines. We went over this last year in geometry, so we'll just kind of do a refresher real quick. So the slopes of parallel lines are equal. The only thing about your equation of parallel lines that's going to differ is your y-intercept. If your y-intercept is the same and your slope's the same, then you have the same line. So, for instance, if I had a line that says y equals 2x plus 3, all right, then the equation y equals 2x minus 5, these two lines would be parallel because if you look at their slopes, they're the same. Okay? So parallel lines have the same slope. So if I wrote you an equation, say I gave you y equals 2x plus 3, and I said write the equation of a line parallel to this one that goes through point 2, 3, all right? Well, you'd use your point slope form because you have your slope of your line, which we know is 2 because it has to be parallel. And then this would be your x1, y1. So you'd have y minus 3 equals m, which is 2, x minus 2. Okay, because remember, point slope is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. All right? And since we wanted the line parallel, okay, we want a line parallel to this one that passes through point 2, 3. Well, our slope again is 2. And then, of course, we know that this is x1, that's y1. So you can plug it in and solve it down. Okay? Now, perpendicular lines. The slopes of perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals of each other. What does that mean? That means if we had the line y equals 2x plus 3, in order for a line to be perpendicular to this line, it would have to be negative 1/2 x plus some y-intercept b, right? So negative reciprocal. So if you remember, the reciprocal means you take your fraction, because 2 can be written over 1, because all whole numbers can be written over 1. Your reciprocal would be 1/2, and then the negative reciprocal, or I like to say opposite reciprocal. I like to say opposite reciprocal because if this was negative, negative reciprocal kind of makes it weird. I don't know. I just don't like using negative reciprocal. I like opposite reciprocal because you know the opposite of a number. If it's negative, it's positive. If it's positive, it's negative. So opposite reciprocal of 2 over 1 is negative 1 over 2. All right? So again, if I told you this point and I wanted a line perpendicular to that point going through the point 2, 3, all right, you would still use the y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. All right, but in this case what you'd do is you'd do the y minus 3 equals, now we can't use the 2, we have to use its opposite reciprocal of negative 1/2 for our slope, and then you would do the x minus 2. Okay? So remember, parallel lines, the slopes are equal, and then perpendicular lines, the slopes are opposite reciprocals or negative reciprocals, depending on how you want to word it. All right? But other than that, you still fill out point slope form the same way. You know, they pretty much give you the slope, because if it's 2, it would have to be negative 1/2, and then through the point 2, 3. So we know m is negative 1/2, y1 is 3, y2 is 2, and then you just go ahead and distribute the negative 1/2 and then add to 3 when you're done with that. All right? So that's it for more on linear equations. Make sure you understand the concepts in this video. Watch as many times as you need to, and see you in class tomorrow.